Hello, good morning, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, the channel that brings you all your latest Rangers news on what is a match day. Yes, a genuine, real, proper football match day. Yes, club football is back. No more of that boring international crap that we have to kind of tolerate and put up with. And you know what? It's football as God intended it. 3 o'clock kickoff at Ibrox against Dundee United. Yes, that is correct. We are currently going to be playing a game when we're supposed to be playing a game at 3 o'clock. Wow. Wow. Just blown away by that. Absolutely blown away by that. Other games today, of course, St Johnstone Kilmarnock, St Mirren Aberdeen, Ross County versus Motherwell. And then at 5:45, we've got Dundee versus Hibs. And at 7:45, we have Hearts v Celtic. So a full programme of football in the SPL. But obviously, our attentions are firmly on Rangers versus Dundee United at Ibrox today. And there really genuinely can be no more excuses. There can be no more failures. There can be no more dropped points, because this is it. From now until the next Old Firm League game in January, we need to be perfect in every way. We need to be Mary Poppins, basically. Mary Poppins? How does that work? How's the football club? Well, we've got to. And you know what? Here on Glasgow Rangers Nation, we'll be here every step of the way today. We will be here with a live watch-along. Back with a live watch-along today from 2:30 here on the channel. Please come and join us. Give your thoughts, your views, your opinions as we watch the game. A game that we genuinely cannot afford to drop any more points in. Now, we know that Kasanwirjo, Mr. Nana, Mr. Big Mr. Neraysho Kasanwirjo will be missing from this game. That is after he was taken off during the week, injured with a knee injury for the Dutch under-21s against, funnily enough, England under-21s. Not a good injury. Not a good injury at all. We did release a video last night. This was the video. Please look out for it. Cass out long term. Yep. Kasanwirjo will be missing long term. Philippe Clement said in his presser yesterday, Kasanwirjo is going to have an appointment with the surgeon today, e.g. yesterday, Friday, and we will have more news over the weekend. For sure, this is a longer term injury. It's a blow for everyone, especially for him. This is football. It's really hard, as he was adapting really well. And Philippe Clement quite clear in his praise for Big Nana, that he was adapting well, he was settling in well, that he was starting to really make himself an effective part of this squad. And as a player who can play left back, a player who can play right back, a player who can play centre half, was a very useful asset to the team. Now, according to further reports that emerged yesterday evening, Rangers are in close consultation with Feyenoord over Neraysho Kasanwirjo. Why? Well, because he's still their player. Likelihood, I think, is very much that he will return to Feyenoord, to Rotterdam for surgery and his recuperation, because after all, I'm sure as a club, Feyenoord will want to keep an eye on a player that is their asset, the player they're probably paying a substantial amount of his wages still. So, one to certainly watch, but it's a big loss for the team. I mean, a huge loss for the team. I mean, I think a lot of us had very high expectations of Cass, that we were going to see him either in centre half or please God, playing right back, instead of that genuinely god-awful James Tavernier, a man who makes the overweight obese right back from the dog and duck down the road look talented. But Big Cass obviously is out now. This looks like a pretty bad injury. He's going to have surgery on it. The moment you have to have surgery on it, obviously, that is a situation where it moves back the recovery time, it increases the recovery time, and, he's going to be missing for a substantial period of time. I mean, certainly even questions raised as to whether or not he will play for Rangers again this season, if at all. So, not great news at all. Not great news for the club. Not great news for the player either. And it does leave us a bit short at the back. Obviously, yes, we have options there. I mean, obviously, Sterling and the god-awful Tav. We've got Hiefte and Ridvan at left back. We've got Suter, the bomb scare that is Robin Proper. The big Leon, the main man himself, And, Clinton Tiala, Leon King, could we actually see Philippe Clement, break a habit of a lifetime and actually try some of the younger players in cover of our starting centre-backs? Now, on the fitness side of things, which obviously, is a big topic at the moment. I mean, I think, there's a lot talked about Rangers in terms of the curse, the injury curse, isn't there? That we really seem to offer, really seem to sort of, not offer, but suffer a substantial amount of injuries over the given season. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's just Rangers. I think all teams suffer injuries. I mean, you've only got to look south of the border. Man City obviously missing a number of players at the moment, in particular obviously Rodri. Arsenal missing a number of players, Liverpool missing a number of players, Villa missing a number of players. It's modern football, it's the wear and tear. And I think, and as daft as this might sound, harking back to the 60s, 70s and 80s when individual footballers played 60, 70 games a season, I think the wear and tear on modern football is a great deal worse than it used to be, given obviously the travel times they have, the difference in the aggression and the speed of the games, the difference in the frequency of the games as well. So I do think that that has some element with all these injuries. But Philippe Clement did update Rangers media yesterday on injuries. I mean, there was some good news and there's some not so good news. Obviously, the not so good news is the fact that Cass is out. Ridvan is training with the team again and is available for selection tomorrow, e.g. today against Dundee United. So, Ridvan is back in the reckoning. I think, Philippe Clement will follow his 54-year, recuperation plan where players have to sit on the bench for the best part of 4.5 decades before they're even considered to start a game. But I think we will see Ridvan on the bench at very least against Dundee at Ibrox tomorrow. Dundee United, at Ibrox tomorrow. Matondo has a small problem and won't be fit for the weekend. So obviously Matondo is out. I would suggest that whatever problem Matondo has, it is far from small. I wouldn't describe Matondo as a small problem. I describe him as a pretty big problem, if I'm being honest. Cortes will be back to train with the team next week, which is really positive. So it looks like Oscar Cortes is well and truly ahead of schedule. We'll be back training with the squad. We'll be back on the grass next week. But for all of those of you expecting a swift return, I think again you're going to be sadly disappointed as Philippe Clement follows his 54-year recuperation plan for players. But certainly more positive news on the injury front on that second update rather than obviously the first one where Big Cass will be missing a large number of games. I mean, we've read obviously the comments by Jim Goodwin. We featured that on the video yesterday. If you haven't seen that, there is the video out from yesterday, which was this one here where we talked about the comments made by Jim Goodwin, the Dundee United manager. Check that out if you haven't already done so. Now, in terms of Rangers today, how do Rangers today line up? Now, I'm really praying. I mean, I know this is probably completely misguided and I'm probably absolutely pissing in the wind here when I'm saying this, but I'm really hoping that Philippe Clement has learned something, that he's learned that if he wants to see a performance, which he said, in his press conference yesterday, he wants to see a performance from the team, that certain players cannot play. Not if you want a smooth, fluid style of football. Now, if tomorrow when the team sheet is revealed at around about 1:45ish, we see James Tavernier on the list and we see Cyril Dessers on the list, get ready for another at least 60 minutes of turgid, boring, unimaginative struggle from Rangers with those two absolute wasters on the pitch. I really hope the manager shows a bit of courage in selection, shows a bit of bottle, and actually picks players that are actually going to make a difference, players that are going to make this team look better. And I think if you look back to the semi-final, 67 minutes gone, he takes off Dessers and Tav, we suddenly start playing better. Olympiacos away, we don't play Tav, we play better. Tierney looks better when Tav is not in the team. Suter looks better when Tav is not in the team. Everybody in that attacking third looks better when Dessers isn't in the team. So, I fully expect, personally speaking, that when we see the team lineup, that we will see James Tavernier man down straight away at right back and captaining the team, never a captain, and Cyril Dessers up front because the manager is just plain thick. But, we really do need to see, I believe, a stronger team. And we have better players than James Tavernier, better players than Cyril Dessers. Now, for me, if I was picking the team tomorrow, and You know what? I'd probably do a better job than Philippe Clement. Jack Butland in goal. Back four, Dujon Sterling at right back. Hark back to that Olympiacos game. 52 minutes he's taken off because we're all told that he can't manage 90 minutes. And he looks better because he goes forward like Tav does, but quicker and better these days. He tracks back, which Tav doesn't do. He tackles, which Tav doesn't do. He covers at the back so that John Stewart is not pulled out of position, which Tav doesn't do. He's strong in the tackle, which Tav isn't. He's fast, which Tav isn't. He's actually a top level defender, which Tav isn't. So why you wouldn't play Dujon Sterling, I genuinely don't know. Suter and Balogun in central defence for me. I mean, Balogun, you know my feelings. You know I love Big Leon. You know I think he's a top talent. Robin Popper looks like an absolute bomb scare in this league. I think it's time to cut our losses and try and send him back to Holland in January. Yefte at left back. You know, look, Ridvan is back, but you know, look, Philippe Clement has already shown us this season that when players return from injury, he will not start them. Barron and Raskan, for instance, have got to be that pivot too. They're excellent there. They're Rottweilers. They break up attacks. They use the ball well. And having Raskan in there has given Barron a bit more license to go forward, a bit more freedom to play, and I think, you know, he's looked even better over the last couple of weeks than he did at the start of the season. So for me, Raskin and Barron as the two. Now the three behind the striker, I want to go for it a bit. Yanis Hadji for me has to start in the 10 role. I mean, in an ideal world you start Bayrami there, but you know, Matondo's not fit, Cortes is not fit, McCausland, although he is fit, is not a left winger. So let's get Hadji in the 10 role. Let's get him prompting and probing and trying to put that killer pass in and creating chances in that 10 role, which we know he can do. Bayrami has to come from the left, given the injuries to Cortes and Matondo. Bayrami is a class act. He's a top player, and he actually played on the left for his country. Tierney on the right, who looks a lot better when Tav isn't behind him because he's not having to constantly chase back or slow down for the ever-pedestrian James Tavernier. And I want to see Danilo start up front. I mean, Danilo for me is just an all-round better striker. He's more mobile, he's faster, he's got a better goals per game record across his entire career than Dessers. He's just an all-round better footballer. His movement is better, he can trap a ball, he can bring others into play. You know, he's mobile, he's everything that Dessers isn't for Rangers. And I think he would just help to quicken up the attack, help to cut the speed of the attack. And let's face it, when we're going to play against a low block, we need to move the ball quickly. We need to attack at speed and unsettle them, because otherwise it's going to be another boring, turgid, possible 1-0 scraper. But that's my team, guys. I'd love to know your thoughts on your team. Let me know in the comments down below how you would line up today against Dundee United. Look, whatever. It's going to be a tough game today. Jim Goodwin will have his men fired up for this game. Lewis Moult is back. They'll be bang up for this. You know, they're going to seek to continue their excellent start back to the Premiership season after playing in the Championship last season. You know, for me today, I mean, look, heart and head say two different things. Heart says 3-0 Rangers. Head says scrappy 1-0. Look, I'd settle for either. It's 3 points and it's up the road. But we do need to start seeing a performance, guys. We really, really do. Right, let me know your thoughts on what we've covered in the video today. This is your match news video this morning. Obviously, join us later. Again, just a reminder, 2:30 for the live watch along. And also remember, please, as well, the channel has a membership scheme. If you want to become a member, please obviously become a member for as little as 99p. That's less than a cup of coffee. That's less than a McDonald's coffee. Less than a Starbucks coffee, and definitely less than a Costa coffee. So guys, remember to smash that sub, smash that like, join the channel, do all that great stuff for me. But most of all, remember, we are the people.